Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so shout out to everybody that's in the room. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. If you guys can hear me and everything sounds okay, give me a thumbs up. If you guys cannot hear me and it looks bad, then give me a thumbs down. And I'm gonna shout out everybody that's in the building early. All right, we got Katsy up in here. Shout out to Katsy. We got Cameron Jones. Shout out to Patricia Slade. We got Brooklyn Queen 125. We got Steve Alhala Mac. Shout out to my man Steve Alhala Mac. We got Black Knight Discussions. We got Kid Gravity Beyond. We got DC Precise. Lloyd Sky 9 in the house. We got Carlton Way. Shout out to my man Carlton Way. All right. So we're going to get into this. I'm going to try to run through this as quickly as possible. All right. Also, you guys know me and TD will be live at about 2 o'clock. We got some conversations to have about what makes a COON. All right. Shout out to my man Terrence Hooker. What's good with it? All right. So we're going to update real quick about this Maine mass shooter. All right. So let's see what they're talking about on this article here. The FBI has surrounded a home in Maine. All right. And they believe that this home is the location of the Maine mass shooter, Robert Card. It's the FBI opened up the door, law enforcement said multiple times as they held their weapons pointed towards a house at the end of the road. The footage cuts off before anything else can be seen. A few minutes after the video of the FBI surrounding the house was shared on social media, reports stated that law enforcement had barricaded a suspect at a home in Bowdoin, Maine. Explosions are reportedly being heard from within the home. So I don't know what's going on as far as these explosions inside the home. Robert Card is the man responsible for deleting at least 18 people and injuring several others late Wednesday night. A murder warrant has been issued for his arrest. He is facing 8 counts of murder, Maine State Police Colonel William G. Ross said. The suspect remained at large and was considered to be armed and dangerous. Nearly 24 hours after the mass shooting occurred, police may have captured the former Navy veteran. All right. So I don't think that that's happened. If I'm not mistaken, somebody can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Shout out to Alonzo. Shout out to Torian. I don't think that they caught him, and I think that he is still at large. I think that this was kind of like a what do you call that? Like a I don't know, a false alarm, I guess. They thought they had him. You know what I'm saying? Like the State Farm commercial with the old dude with the fishing pole almost had him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Win Loser Rug. What's good with it, bro? So now here says a video is being shared to social media. Okay, we already read that. Following the video, another report came out stating that law enforcement does, in fact, have a barricaded suspect at a home in Bowdoin, Maine. Though they did not name the suspect who is surrounded, it is believed to be Robert Card, the man responsible for the Maine mass shooting Wednesday evening. All right. So, yeah, then they go into the history of the mass shooting, and we all know that. So these are just some updates here. Apparently, he's still on the run. All right. So they did find some information about this dude, though. Apparently, he left some kind of communication to his son. I believe it was a suicide note. All right. And from what I'm understanding, he also they're believing now that he was attempting to target either his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend. Shout out to Shamika Gray. What's good with it? So we're going to check this little video out. All right, we got 2 of them here. Let's see what they're talking about here.
18 people were killed and 13 others injured in 2 separate shootings. Our Michelle Fisher is here live with the very latest. Michelle? Ellen, police are surrounding that home, shouting commands through a megaphone outside the house owned by suspect Robert Card's relative near the town of Bowden. They are calling on Card and anyone inside of that home to come out into the driveway, hands in the air. This is much of the surrounding community has now spent 24 hours during this manhunt, locked inside their homes, sheltered in place. Investigators surrounding a home in Maine amid the search for armed and dangerous suspect Robert Card. Tonight, we're hearing the first stories of survival.
When I turned around, we all turned around and realized what was happening. We dropped to the ground. And that's when I think I was shot in the arm.
Others, like this father who lost his son, sharing their heartache.
I've listened to people try to explain when something happens in these shootouts and stuff. I don't know how they do it. I can't explain it, tell you the truth, I can't.
Tonight, families picking up the pieces 24 hours after Robert Card went on a deadly shooting rampage. Shots ringing out just before 7 at just-in-time recreation during a youth bowling night.
Out of nowhere, he just came in and there was a loud pop. That was a balloon. I had my back turned to the door.
12 minutes later, 4 miles away, Card opening fire at another restaurant, bar, and grill.
So I got to ask y'all this question. What do y'all think that it is that gets into these people's heads and make them want to just delete a massive amount of people? Why is it that they don't have a single target? Why is it that they want to delete a mass amount of people? What do y'all think about that? I don't have any theory on that.
Gunman's car located several hours later at a boat landing in Lisbon with a firearm inside. More than 350 local, state, and federal law officers involved in the search for the gunman. The sound of flashbangs heard in one neighborhood, the Maine Department of Public Safety saying the home is part of their investigation. Card, an Army reservist, reportedly spending 2 weeks in July in a mental health facility after he reported hearing voices and threatened to shoot up a National Guard facility in Maine.
If in fact the suspect.
So now here's my question. Why didn't they do anything back then when he threatened to shoot up a National Guard facility? Clearly this dude had some violent tendencies. You know what I'm saying? Clearly he had some violent intentions before, and it was actually brought to some people's attention and nothing was done about it. So my question for you guys is, why was nothing done about it? Why did they let this fester for this long? That's the question. You know what I'm saying? And actually, Black Knight discussion, we're going to get into that. We definitely going to get into that. All right. And of course, shout out to my computer. My computer is stuck. All right. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment. We got 27 live viewers and we got 25 likes. If everybody could bang on that like button and get us to 40, that'd be great.
Was hospitalized for 2 weeks for mental illness. That should have triggered the yellow flag law, and he should have been separated from his weapons.
And law enforcement sources say a note found at the suspect's home is a suicide note addressed to Robert Card's son. The note reportedly does not provide any information on a motive for this mass shooting, but rather contains what sources describe as rantings, as well as some basic information like bank account details.
Hello, I'm Mark.
So now here goes my question. Have they released what these quote unquote rantings are? Because I'm curious as to what they are. Because I got a feeling about this dude. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys have a feeling about this dude? Shout out to Jay Cage. What's good with it, bro? What is you guys' feeling about this dude? I'm gonna let you guys listen to this other video. There was a video that came out from Eyewitness News, ABC 7 in New York, and it says that this quote unquote Maine shooter had a quote unquote interest in conspiracies. If you guys heard about that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't hear about that, give me a thumbs down. Now, a lot of times when you hear about the whole quote unquote incel thing, you hear about quote unquote conspiracies. It seems like a lot of mass shooters and quote unquote conspiracy theorists go hand in hand with WS. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious as to what kind of rantings was in that damn note. I wonder. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Janine. What's good with it, Janine? Shout out to Rudy Ray. What's good with it?
Well, we're learning a lot more tonight about the man police are looking for. Robert Card, who struggles with mental illness, might become the basis for his deadly outburst. And for the first time, law enforcement sources are confirming the alleged gunman had an interest in online conspiracies. Eyewitness News reporter Tom.
See, there you go. He had an interest in online conspiracies. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What kind of conspiracies do you think that he had an interest in? You think he had an interest in replacement theory or anything like that?
Meanwhile, We're learning a lot more tonight about the man police are looking for, Robert, who struggles with mental illness, might become the basis for his deadly outburst. And for the first time, law enforcement sources are confirming the alleged gunman had an interest in online conspiracies. Eyewitness News reporter Tom Negaman digging deeper into that part of the story. He's in the newsroom for us. Tom.
Yeah, Bill, officials telling us more about his mental health issues, recently saying he was hearing voices, at one point allegedly threatening to shoot up the base where he was stationed. And tonight, they say they've already learned a lot from tracking Card online. As the search continues for 40-year-old Robert Card, law enforcement sources are confirming more details about his background, including his online habits and an interest in conspiracy theories on issues like a possible financial meltdown, gun rights, allegations that Democrats engaged in election fraud.
Well, looks like we're getting a nice little starter package together, aren't we? We're getting a nice little starter package together, aren't we? You know what I'm saying?
Interest in conspiracy theories on issues like a possible financial meltdown, gun rights, allegations that Democrats engaged in election fraud in 2020, and conspiracies about COVID-19.
Oh,
we
boy.
know more about those red flags raised here in New York.
Oh, boy.
Card command directed to have a mental health evaluation at West Point, which experts call a sign of the system working.
The good thing was that he did get some treatment, and they did identify these mental health issues and did try to help him.
I suggest that you go. We have an active shooter, and we're not sure where he's at.
Tonight, they still aren't sure. The NYPD already had hundreds of specially trained officers fanned out across town because of tensions in the Mideast, but they're also watching transit hubs now, just in case.
We are quite confident at this point that this horrific crime has no nexus to New York City.
But it now has an apparent link to online conspiracies and allegedly to a very troubled man, raising new questions tonight about gun laws and mental health.
A reframing of this discussion, not as a partisan political issue, but really as a public health one, is critical because we have to move forward. We cannot live in a society.
I'm more curious in what he was into. I'm more curious as to what he was into and quote unquote, what kind of conspiracy theories. You know what I'm saying? What about you guys? Are you guys more? I'm not really curious about the mental health issues because clearly some professional thought that he was stable to go back into the public and have all of his weapons. So based on professional assessment, that's not my area of interest. My area of interest is what's up with this starter package of things that this fellow was into. Those are some red flags, like Peyton Gendron type red flags. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Where our public safety is constantly at risk.
Tonight, law enforcement sources are telling us that will be part of the after-action report on this once Card is found, looking at what might have been done to keep guns out of the hands of a man the Army had already identified as mentally unstable. Sade?
Okay.
I don't know why they keep bringing up the fact that the Army, quote unquote, already identified him as mentally unstable, because regardless of whatever kind of identification it is that they're claiming that they did, it was clearly ineffective because the guy was never taken into custody and he was allowed to have free reign until the point where he took that free reign and did this. And now, again, when it comes to all of these, quote unquote, mental health issues and stuff like that, I want to know exactly what mental health issue that it was that he was, quote unquote, diagnosed with or what he was assessed with. If it wasn't schizophrenia or if it wasn't schizoaffective disorder, or like we talked about yesterday, if it wasn't bipolar with psychosis, I want to know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because again, when it comes to anxiety and depression, you have to look at the track record of quote unquote anxiety and depression, and these are not normal occurrences as a result of that. If that was the case, there would literally be no mental health facilities, and everybody who had a mental health disorder would be in Arkham Asylum because they would all be threats to society. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to KOK Fit and shout out to Nope Rope. What's good with it? So now this is where they say that his he might have been targeting his ex-girlfriend. This is where they say that he was targeting his ex-girlfriend. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys believe that? Do you think that he was targeting his ex-girlfriend? If you guys think that he was, give me a thumbs up. If you think that he wasn't, give me a thumbs down.
Gunman in yesterday's mass shooting in Maine is now in its second day. Lewiston and several other nearby towns remain under shelter-in-place orders during what has become a massive search involving multiple federal agencies, including the Coast Guard, ICE, Border Patrol, and the FBI. Our national correspondent, Jerika Duncan, reports from outside the bowling alley where the...
Hey, they better not be stretching Border Patrol out here involving them in this. They got enough to do keeping all those migrants under control. Would you guys agree? Border Patrol ain't got time for this. They got their hands full already. They better hire some people.
Shooting began.
Law enforcement searched late into the night for Robert Card. With SWAT teams, K-9 units, and helicopters scouring his hometown, Bowdoin, Maine, about 25 minutes from Wednesday's shootings in Lewiston. Police serving search warrants in their hunt for the suspect. At one point, officers in armored vehicles appeared to surround one home in particular that's believed to be Card's last known address. They were there for more than an hour without explanation.
Now, it's already been confirmed that none of these locations where they stopped at, or none of these locations where the feds were at, none of these places that they tried to get into, he wasn't present at any of these places, right? These were all duds. These were all dummy missions, right?
Ultimately, they left without a suspect.
This city did not deserve this terrible assault on its citizens.
It comes after Card allegedly opened fire in a bowling alley Wednesday night, killing 7 people before going to a nearby restaurant and killing 8 others. Officials say 3 more victims have since died in the hospital. Earlier in the day, law enforcement raided a home in Bowdoin they believed to be connected to the suspect. And loud bangs could be heard at the scene. The 40-year-old was not there, but one U.S. official told CBS News police found a note inside the home but wouldn't divulge what it said. Sources also...
Now, here go my question. What's there to hide? Why wouldn't he divulge? Why wouldn't they divulge what it said? What do you guys think about that? What did they find on that note that they're terrified of the public finding out about? That's my question. What are they hiding? What do you guys think? What are they scared of? Why would they not divulge what's on the note? Does that make any sense? I gotta agree, Alonzo. I'm thinking that. I think that there's some motive too, Katsy, but I'm thinking that what Alonzo is saying, I think Alonzo is onto something. Black Knight Discussion said the note said, "Catch me if you can." You know what I'm saying? He was out here like Dokes on Dexter. Surprise, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Also tell CBS News officials are investigating whether Card was targeting a current or former girlfriend. A motive, however, remains unclear.
It's awful that what happened.
We spoke to Ben Soroy, who told us his father was called to the bowling alley to help a friend escape Wednesday night. Soroy says before this massacre, he always felt safe in this area.
We never lock our doors here. We never lock our cars.
What do you have to say as we grapple with another?
See, so man, like I'm not trying to be funny, you know what I'm saying? But like when it comes to familicide and like when it comes to surviving the suburbs, would you guys say that I've been vindicated? If you guys would say that I've been vindicated, I mean, you heard what this guy said. We never locked the doors. You never locked the doors, you know what I'm saying? And in one night, y'all had the same amount of casualties that a place in the hood might have in a week or two. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. In one night. Yeah, never lock the doors. Surviving the suburbs. It gets real in the rural. You know what I'm saying?
What do you have to say as we grapple with another mass shooting in America?
Cherish your loved ones while they're here, because it could happen, I guess, anywhere.
Cherished your loved ones. You know, Jerika, he said he always felt safe prior to this, and a survey recently named Lewiston one of the safest communities in America. How's the shooting changed the way that the residents there are feeling?
You know, I think the sentiment that I've heard over and over again from the number of people I've spoken to is shock. They really are shocked. You talk about that survey, you look around at this community, when you think about it, it's about 40,000 residents here, very small town. A lot of people know someone who was impacted or heard about someone who escaped. So I think it's shock, but I also hear people feeling like this was an isolated incident and that it should not take away from the overall feeling and perception of Lewiston. But people are, without a doubt, again, we're less than 48 hours away from when this happened. So folks are still learning information about the conditions of loved ones or people they know in the hospital, but still just can't believe that something like this happened. And again, we're near the bowling alley. You can see the
Now,
streets.
here goes my question. Do you guys think that people are just in denial or what? Why is it that as often as this happens, people, quote unquote, just can't believe it? Shout out to Torian Rain. That's right. I forgot all about that. The Blood Tribe is in Maine, the same tribe that likes to take trips to Ohio. How many of y'all know about the Blood Tribe? If you guys know about the Blood Tribe, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't know about the Blood Tribe, give me a thumbs down. I wonder if some of those notes that the police have link him to that Blood Tribe.
Are still sort of blocked off by police where all of this happened.
Shout out to,
Yeah, I
shout
mean,
out
so
to my
often,
man,
Drake, we cover these stories and people are always shocked that it
my man A.B. Shout out to my man A.B.
happened where they live. As you mentioned, the bowling alley, I understand we heard from the owner of the bowling alley through one of our affiliates. What did he have to say?
Correct. The owner of the affiliate who purchased this bowling alley reportedly about 2 years ago said that there were a lot of children in that bowling alley on Wednesday night. He talked about being able to quickly gather some people and getting to those emergency exits. And I imagine, Lana, that we're going to hear more and more of those stories. I've already heard quite a few of people who said they just reacted, especially in this place where there were so many children, and grabbed whoever they could. We went and door knocked on a man that we had heard was a retired officer who also helped. He himself was very startled. And of course, you know how it is to go door knocking at this time.
For you guys who don't know about the Blood Tribe, Torian, if you could put the link to that video in the chat, I need y'all to watch this video. And if y'all not subscribed to Torian's channel, make sure that y'all subscribe while y'all watching that video. But hopefully Torian will put the link in the chat for the Blood Tribe video. That's a militia in Maine, a WS militia in Maine. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not familiar with the Blood Tribe, make sure you guys watch that video. Shout out to Sean Williams and shout out to Solo T. What's good with y'all?
And he was struck by our presence, honestly, and said, hey, there's a shelter in place. I really don't want to talk right now. But you know, I can't imagine witnessing something like that, surviving it, and not being quite ready to talk about it. I think is absolutely normal. For those who are talking about it, it almost is like therapy, because it's just hard to truly wrap your mind around someone coming in and knowing that this person was an expert shooter and just literally targeting people and them dropping like flies. So to know that there were so many more people who escaped is without a doubt a blessing. But a lot of those stories are starting to come to light of those who were able to get out and those who were able to help save others.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. All right. So when it comes to the quote unquote, so there's the video link. All right. So make sure that y'all hit that link. All right. Now, here's my question. Why do they automatically turn this kind of situation into a quote unquote gun control conversation instead of what's the common link between all of these situations? It seems like they're all into the same type of online content. They're all, you know, very similar, political ideology, very political very similar political demographic profile. Why do they never go into that? See, that's the conversation that we need to have when it comes to this particular type of thing. You know, there's other root causes besides gun control. But I'm just saying.
Count the victims based off of who actually was hit with the weapon. But in reality, the victims actually, there's a lot more. Tarika, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, we are learning more about the suspect's background, including a history of severe mental health problems detailed as recently as July. Our chief national affairs and justice correspondent, Jeff Pegues, is at the scene of the second shooting location. Jeff, good morning.
Now, here's the thing, right? One thing that really irritates me about how they talk about this kind of stuff in the mainstream media is that they talk about this stuff as if mental health somehow absolves you from some type of guilt. It does not. Just because you have a mental health disorder does not mean that you have a decision-making disorder. It doesn't mean that you're mentally incapacitated. The only time those kind of issues are the case for the most part are when people have a conservatorship, or if they're court ordered and they have a guardian. If you do not have those things, even if you have a mental health disorder, you are still allowed to be in public and expected to behave as a normal, decent, decision-making, law-abiding citizen. Now, here goes my question, right? If the mental health disorder caused him to go as far as this, what else has the mental health disorder done in his life? And why is it that in many of these cases, when it comes to this kind of thing, they only mention the mental health disorder when the situation gets this bad? Why is that? Does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense at all, does it?
Good morning. A lot of law enforcement sources tell us that for months, Robert Card had been threatening to kill people, and he was also seen to be behaving.
So they got this black dude right here that sounds like RFK. Y'all notice that? This black dude right here, he got the same voice as RFK.
Erratically at a military training facility. And then on top of that, he was sent to a mental health treatment center, but he was only there for 2 weeks before he was released. Mass shooting suspect Robert Card enlisted in the Army as a reservist in 2002, but was never trained as a firearms instructor. The U.S.
I gotta make sure Carla not in here, because Carla be getting mad at me when I start roasting RFK. So let me not do that.
U.S. Army said his unit went to West Point in July for training, but Card never participated. One U.S. official says that's because he started acting erratically the first day. Card was taken to an Army hospital. He was allegedly hearing voices and threatened to shoot up a base. He was then reportedly committed to a mental health facility, but was released after 2 weeks.
So now, so if he was released after 2 weeks, then that means one of two things. One, he had incompetent mental health professionals, or two, the mental health professionals were competent and they evaluated him and saw him as fit to be in public. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many people are aware that people who do tend to have mental health disorders, they are in many cases extremely intelligent, and sometimes they can be extremely manipulative? Some people with type B personalities can be so manipulative that they can even fool counselors and experienced psychiatrists about their personality profile. Were you guys aware of that? If you guys were aware of that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys were not, then give me a thumbs down. Yeah, and I gotta agree, John. Either way, it's a problem. Big facts.
It remains unclear how or when Card obtained the firearm allegedly used in the shooting. But Tom Chittum, a former associate deputy director of the ATF, says despite the mental health evaluation, federal law would not permit Card from having a firearm.
Simply being diagnosed with a mental health disorder is not disqualifying, and neither is a commitment when it is voluntary or a brief commitment for observation.
But federal law does prohibit people from possessing guns if they've been formally committed to a mental health facility. But the details surrounding his mental health check aren't fully known, so it's unclear if he was flagged to a federal database.
How is it not fully known? Wait a minute, let's stop that. So what we do know is that he went to a mental health facility. We know that he was seen at the mental health facility. We know at the mental health facility they ruled that he was able to go back into public. Yet when it comes to everything about his mental health, we don't know everything. You mean to tell me that they can't just go to the place where he was at and get his medical information? They can't subpoena that stuff? How did you guys hear that? That doesn't make any sense.
But the details surrounding his mental health check aren't fully known.
What? Shout out to Eddie Lee. What's good with it, bro? Now, here's my question for you guys. How do they not know the details of his mental health? How do they not know? Seriously? They know if you don't know the details of his mental health, then why do you keep talking about his mental health? There should be no discussion of his mental health until all details available are obtained. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And shout out to my man, AB Promotion, the first stream sponsor. AB Promotion says sooner or later, the power that be are going to tell us, turn in our power tools. It's coming. Big facts, bro. Especially if Biden and the Democrats stick around. You know what I'm saying? If you guys agree with AB, give me a thumbs up. Y'all agree with AB? Give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs up. I forgot I got to say it like that now.
Not permit Card from having a firearm.
Simply being diagnosed with a mental health disorder is not disqualifying, and neither is a commitment when it is voluntary or a brief commitment for observation.
But federal law does prohibit people from possessing guns if they've been formally committed to a mental health facility. But the details surrounding his mental health check aren't fully known, so it's unclear if he was flagged to a federal database. Maine's yellow flag law does.
Hey, how many of y'all like disco? If you like disco, give me a thumbs up. If y'all don't like disco, give me a thumbs down. Because I was about to ask y'all if y'all ever heard this song. Like that content.
Allow law enforcement to detain someone they suspect is mentally ill and poses a threat to themselves or others.
If in fact the suspect was hospitalized for 2 weeks for mental illness, that should have triggered the yellow flag law, and he should have been separated from his weapons.
Hey, shout out to the lady that was doing the sign language, man. You know what I'm saying? She was going hard in the paint.
One more note about this state's gun laws, and this is important. In this state, you don't have to have a background check to purchase from an unlicensed or private seller. That said, we don't know at this time how this gunman purchased the weapons used. Lana.
Jeff, I mean, we heard Collins there talking about the yellow flag laws. It sounds like a red flag law example, specifically when somebody's threatening to kill people and has access to the means to do so. Do we know anything about how the suspect got the weapon?
We're still looking into that. But, you know, all this.
Why is it that they never know how these people got the weapons? Right. Hey, right. Carlton, she was going hard in her B-boy stance, wasn't she?
Let's talk about mental health issues. You know, I've covered
shout out to
like
Crew Royalty
before,
B1.
In my experience, you often have people in the community saying, well, he kept to himself, didn't really know him that well. But you're not seeing this in this case. What you're seeing in this case is that a lot of people around here, and we've been told since we've been here, this is a tight-knit community, and people knew who Robert Card was. They knew that he had weapons. They knew that he had mental health issues. And so if you take the emotion and really the grief out of this situation when you can, you'll see that if you take a clinical look at what happened here, there were signs here. There were signs that Robert Card was sort of spiraling, and then you hear this information.
But we don't know the details of his mental health issue, though. So spiraling from what? Like, we don't know the full details of his mental health issues. Shout out to Betterworth. What's good with it, bro? Right? Would you guys agree? That's literally what they just said. And shout out to Brooklyn Queen for hitting the Nightbot and the Stream Elements bot. Y'all crazy, man. I told y'all, man, this dude sound like RFK.
About how there was this recent breakup, and now we're being told by law enforcement that that breakup may have been a significant destabilizing event in his life. So when people talk about these mass shootings and what to look out for, there were signs in this case that people saw, but the question will be going forward, was enough action taken to prevent him from doing something like this?
I mean, clearly it wasn't. That's not even a question. If something like this has occurred, that should never be the question. okay, what has to happen is you need to come to grips with the fact that the efforts to stop anything like this from happening, if there were any at all, were a complete and utter failure. They were a failure, and more responsibility and better and more efficient protective measures have to be taken in the future to protect the public. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And that's true, Catsy. His ex may have possibly been a trigger if he was dealing with something like PTSD or something like that, which he very well might be dealing with, being that he was an ex-military individual. However, based on this report right here, we don't have all of the details of what mental illness or what mental condition he was dealing with, which makes it difficult for us to be able. How can we list symptoms and symptomatology and base all of these things on speculation? Because right now, the only thing that we do know is that he was seen and released, right? If he was seen, that means that at that time he exhibited symptoms. If he was released, what that means is that for the most part, he was either released and cleared or released on a treatment plan. In addition to that, according to this news report, we still don't know anything about his mental health condition. But we're making all of this speculation, and we're at this point now with this where we're making speculations based on information, you know what I mean, that we don't have. No, that you're fine. I'm just bringing that up to reinforce the fact that I find it fascinating that in this report, all the mainstream media, right? Everything that we've looked at and talked about in regards to this, right? They're putting a heavy emphasis on quote unquote mental health condition. But in this report here, it's revealed that we don't know anything about the mental health condition. So why put all of that emphasis on that if that's not a 100% certain? You guys see what I'm saying? Did that make sense?
Or even being in a situation where he might think about doing something like this.
And Jeff, he is still at large. The people there are under lockdown orders. How concerned are officials that he could carry out another shooting?
Well, you have to be concerned because you've seen what he's already allegedly done with the bloodshed in this community, and he is considered armed and dangerous. And then you work into this the fact that he is an Army reservist, has the training to survive, to sustain himself, and then you would consider him an outdoorsman. He likes to hunt, according to the people that we've spoken with. And then he has access to waterways, and he's had access to vehicles as well. So this is complicated, but the most important point at this time, as long as he is on the run, there are people in this community who are concerned. I mean, you drive around and people are still sheltering in place, stores.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be driving around that community. That dude could probably snipe you from a couple 100 yards away and all kinds of stuff you got to demand. I wouldn't want to deal with that nonsense. I don't think there's anybody that wants to deal with that nonsense. And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. We got 56 people watching and we got 45 likes. If everybody can bang on that like button and get us to 70, that'd be great. I wouldn't want to deal with that. Who the hell wants to deal with this? You know what I'm saying? Shit, I don't think anybody wants to deal with this nonsense. Now, we talked about this briefly on Just Talking with TD and Rob, and I don't even know if I should Stephen Paddock. That name sounds familiar. What did he do, Torian? Stephen Paddock. That name sounds familiar. I got to ask you guys a question. You guys ready? Why? Why? Dwight Howard denies sexually assaulting a man in a bombshell lawsuit and claims that it was a consensual encounter. Why, dude? What's up with that, man? Look at how, yeah, facts. Make sure you guys show AB Promotions some love with the $1.99 super chat, second stream sponsor. He says, look at how they're humanizing him. Facts. They're building up a case for people to be sympathetic to him, which is very interesting because that's not something that we see when it comes to news reports dealing with us. I'm going to show you guys something later on in the stream. Hopefully we can get there quickly. I don't really want to read this. I just want y'all to see the headline. This is what I was talking about when me and TD did our stream. Dwight Howard denies sexually assaulting a man in a bombshell lawsuit. He claims that it was a consensual encounter. Maybe we'll talk about that on LGTV. If you're not subscribed to LGTV, make sure you guys take a moment and subscribe to LGTV. So, how many people know about this? Last week they hit a concert. Last night they bombed a country. Y'all know about this? U.S. conducts airstrikes in Syria in response to deadly UAV attack. Yeah, this happened. If y'all heard about this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not hear about this, give me a thumbs down. Earlier, and this is from, let me see, wait a minute. I don't know why they put this. This is the wrong date on here. March 23rd of 2023. So Joe Biden himself must have typed this up because he got the wrong damn date on it. That's what the White House is out here doing. Printing stuff up with the wrong date. All right, let's look at this real quick. So now let me ask you guys a question. What do you all think that the fallout, the subsequent fallout from this particular situation here will be? Let's see what they're talking about.
We are coming on the air at this hour with breaking news. The United States has just struck 2 Iranian-linked locations in eastern Syria. That, U.S. says, is in retaliation for attacks against U.S.
Hey, that's facts, Carlton. Shout out to Carlton. Carlton says, speaking of LGTV, the mainstream has been silent on monkeypox lately, but watch when Dwight Howard pop up with some around the corners of his mouth, they'll be right back on it. You know what I'm saying? And he'll be on a commercial for the jab.
Personnel. A new statement from Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin says that these were what the U.S. is calling self-defense strikes. They describe them as precision self-defense strikes.
Now, how many of you guys believe that this was self-defense strikes? If you guys believe that this was self-defense strikes, give me a thumbs up. If you guys doubt that this was self-defense strikes and you guys think that this was about something else, then by all means, let me know what you think it was about and what you think it was.
Against 2 facilities in eastern Syria. These are against what the U.S. officials describe as Iranian-backed forces, Iranian-backed attacks against U.S. forces. And the statement from Secretary Austin says they are unacceptable and must stop. Iran wants to hide its hand and deny its role in these attacks against our forces. We will not let them. Joining us on the phone.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that there might be any proxy action against Iran, quote unquote, doing the, fight blue and white, doing them a favor? If you guys think that that could possibly be the case, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, OC said life-saving strikes. And shout out to Carlton. Carlton got the same policy with the United States that I have for news that I see on Twitter. If the U.S. says it, then Carlton believes it. Now, I feel the same way about Twitter. If it's on Twitter, even more so, if it's on a more reliable media apparatus like TikTok, I don't even need to verify it. Believe it 100%. You know what I'm saying? No questions asked, hands down. It's fact.
Is Gabe Gutierrez from Washington, who has been following this for us. He is senior White House correspondent. Gabe, thank you so much for being with us on such short notice. What do we know at this hour about these strikes and what they may mean about the U.S.'s military posture in that region?
Oh, hi there, Jake. Well, as you said, the statement coming out just a short time ago from the defense secretary, and it comes as the U.S. military, there have really been rising tensions in the region over the war in Israel. And the defense secretary called the attacks separate and distinct from that ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. But the reality, Jake, is that as tensions have been rising in the region, there has been an uptick in these types of attacks against U.S. facilities. And while the U.S. had said that it does not believe that Iran was directly responsible or gave the green light for the Hamas terrorist attack against Israel, it has been saying that Iran is broadly complicit for funding Hamas and also other proxies really throughout the region. And President Biden has.
So what it sounds like here is that the United States is doing this on behalf. It sounds like the United States is doing this on behalf of what's going on already. Because remember, when the first strike occurred, when Hamas first struck in Israel, there was accusations of Iran assisting Hamas. Do you guys recall that? So, you know, this was in Syria, but these were some Iranian forces, and they just happened to attack Americans there. I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more information about this. You know what I'm saying?
Repeatedly warned other actors throughout the region not to exploit this situation. So again, this comes at a time between October 17th and the 24th, U.S. and coalition forces were attacked at least 10 separate times in Iraq, 3 times in Syria by a mix of drones and rockets, according to the Pentagon. And on October 18th, at least 2 one-way attack drones targeted.
Now, here's my question: where's the video footage of any of this? Has anybody seen any video footage of any of these attacks? If you guys have seen any video footage of this, anywhere, give me a thumbs up. Or if you're watching this on the replay and you know where some video footage of this is, please make sure that you leave it linked in the comment section. Myself, I have not seen any video footage of this. You see what I'm saying? I'm curious as to what it looks like. I haven't seen any reports either. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to AB. AB says, side note, Russia is going to put nukes in Nigeria. Oh, wow. We're going to definitely have to talk about that on Auditing Africa, bro. We're going to definitely have to get into that. That's going to be a game changer.
Military base in southern Syria. And on the same day, there were also 2 separate drone attacks against U.S. and coalition forces stationed at a U.S. base in western Iraq. So again, these launched strikes come as retaliation for that, basically warning Iran and its proxies to back off check.
And Gabe, in the statement from Secretary Austin, he specifically mentions the attacks. You are describing that series of attacks in Iraq and Syria, and it specifically, of course, names Iran as the backer of the proxy forces that it says carried out these attacks. It also, his statement also mentions the U.S. personnel, one of whom died.
Why do we have so many military bases all up and through there? Now, let me ask you guys a question because there's some people, right, who watch the channel who politically are in favor of a Trump presidency, right? Now, let me ask you guys this question. Do you all think that if this situation were to happen and Trump was the president, that we would have even been there in the first place? Or how do you think that Trump would have responded? If you ask me, I know there's a lot of people that like Trump that watch the channel. But if you ask me, I think Trump would have done the exact same thing. He just would have phrased it different. Because there was that situation that took place in 2017 that had been exposed in the UN Security Council meeting where Sergei Lavrov got the report from OPCW talking about this chlorine gas that was done, you know what I'm saying, in Syria. And that was an excuse to use airstrikes. And that turned out bad. So there was really no reason to have done that until a report came out, you know what I'm saying? But they did it preemptively anyway. And Nikki Haley was running her big mouth. Now, my thing is, I think that Trump would have just went on and done this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he would have. I think Kid Gravity, I think he would have done that. I think he would have done that ban. And then in the same breath as doing that ban, he would have authorized the airstrikes like he did in 2017. You know what I'm saying?
died of a cardiac event while taking shelter during one of the attacks. It was unrelated to the actual danger from the attacks, other than that it happened contemporaneously with it. And then it mentions that 21 U.S. personnel suffered minor injuries, but all have since returned to duty. Considering just how much death and destruction we have been looking at around the Israel-Hamas war, it is striking to me, and I wonder what you make of this, just how fiercely the United States seems to be striking back in response to something that has, even it says in its statement here, involves minor injuries. What does that suggest to you about the level of tolerance the U.S. has for violence directed at its personnel and its facilities in the region?
Well, look, that statement does describe it as minor injuries, but at least some of those were reported to be traumatic brain injuries. So some discussion about how minor they are in fact. But Jake, this is something that for the past several days we've been hearing just kind of more stronger talk from the White House, and even just earlier today, National Security Spokesman John Kirby. I'm reading, looking through.
This is like the longest 6-minute video that I've ever listened to. Doesn't it seem like we've been listening to this video forever? I mean, if anybody could be more boring than this, damn, you know what I'm saying? Step your game up, because this is terrible right here. Good God.
Transcript really quickly, and he basically said we're going to do what we have to do to protect troops in our facilities, and he basically
okay, man, yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. So basically, apparently, some of these Iran-backed forces attacked allegedly some American soldiers at some military outpost in Syria, and the United States airstruck Syria in retaliation. No footage of anything really, no documents. No on the ground, anything, you know what I'm saying? We just had this here because I can't do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that video anymore. So how many people heard about this individual named Rasheem Edwards? Rasheem Edwards is an individual who did not go and shoot up a bowling alley. Okay. Rasheem Edwards didn't shoot up a bowling alley. We're going to see what happened with Rasheem Edwards. Okay. Let's see.
Bike, I'll be at the Ray Camp and I'm on road. One black male, blue shirt.
All right, now you see this? He's on this dirt bike. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please take a moment. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. How many of you guys heard about this? If you guys heard about this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't, give me a thumbs down. Oh, man. Damn. All right, hold on. There we go.
Bike, I'll be at the Ray Camp and I'm on road. One black male, blue shirt.
Stop, man. No, stay over there, bro. Stay over there. Don't move. What's going on, man? Where are you coming from? And you know you're not supposed to drive this on the road. It's not registered, right? No. I thought you could have this on 50cc. 50cc? You got on the road with no registration, nothing at all? I was just going to the gas station. The gas station? Do you have your ID on you, man? No. I live right here. You have nothing in your name on yeah, I do. Okay, all right. That's cool. I have my bank card. Okay. Sorry. No, look like I have it on me. You want to follow me to my house right here? Let me see. You got an ID right there, right? Yeah, that's my brother Jamaican ID. That's your what? That's my brother Jamaican ID. Your brother? Yeah. Okay, where's it? Can you check it? Let me get the flashlight for you, bro. So you can look good. There you go. Because you can't barely see in that thing. There you go, man. I just need like some identification, you know. Yeah. You're not supposed to be driving down the road, man. It's yeah, you know what? You know? I know. I was gonna turn right here, right through the grass. I don't have it on me right now. You don't have nothing on you right now? Just get off the bike for me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just set it. You can set it down. Yeah. Just put your hands on the car for me. Right here, come right here. Just put it right there on the car. But if you got no weapons? Okay. No, don't. Hold on. Come back. Listen. Come back. Put your hands on the car. Put your hands on the car. Spread your feet. Don't move, bro. I got one running. Hey, stop! Let me see your hand. Stop! Let me see your hand. Let me see your hand. Gun. Shots fired. Shots fired.
So yeah, that's what happened there. He didn't shoot up a bowling alley. He was riding a dirt bike in the wrong place. Video shows Marion County deputies shoot and kill man who ran from traffic stop near youth football practice. A new video released Friday shows the moments leading up to a Marion County deputy shooting and killing a man near a youth football practice earlier this week. The man, Rasheem Edwards, was shot after being stopped for riding a dirt bike on the road, according to the sheriff's office. So he's now gone for riding a dirt bike on the road. But an individual that the public is caping for that deleted a bunch of people at a bowling alley is being caped for and coddled by the mainstream media, and he's still alive. Florida. What Ron DeSantis say? Florida is the state where people like us go to die. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be funny, but for real, that's probably why that dude ran. You know what I'm saying? Sheriff's official said the traffic stop happened near S.E. Camp and Emerald Roads. You know you're not supposed to drive this on the road. It's not registered, right? The deputy asked Edwards in the video. Edwards tells the deputy no, and that he was heading to a gas station just down the road when the deputy asked for an ID. The body camera video shows Edwards looking in his bag for ID until he tells the deputy he does not have it on him. When the deputy asks Edwards to put his hands on the deputy's cruiser, whether he has any weapons on him, Edward begins to run away. The deputy gave chase, and after running a short distance, Edwards pulled out a firearm he was carrying on his hip. Edwards fumbled the firearm, causing it to fall to the ground, the sheriff's office said in a release. The sheriff's official said Edwards then reached for the gun, prompting the deputy to fire. Edwards was taken to the hospital where he later died. The sheriff's office said Edwards was a convicted felon for attempted burglary in New York, and it was illegal for him to have a firearm. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating, and the deputy is on paid administrative leave per protocol. So there's that. Okay. But shout out to the people in Maine, because since they don't deal with people like that in Maine, they still got to worry about possibly getting sniped. So check this out right here. Miami woman gets federal prison and will pay $8.6 million for a mega healthcare fraud scheme. $8.6 million. That's a lot of money. Miami woman gets federal prison, and she's gonna she's gonna end up paying $8.6 million for a mega healthcare fraud scheme. What do you guys think about that? Federal prosecutors consider Aurelides Fernandez de Lemus to be the ringleader. Look at this. All right, this Aurelides Hernandez de Lemus to be the ringleader of a nearly $37 million healthcare fraud scheme based in South Florida. Now the Miami woman is set to spend years behind bars and is on the hook for an enormous fine. According to the U.S. Justice Department, a judge sentenced Fernandez de Lemus, who pleaded guilty to the scheme, to 104 months in federal prison and ordered her to pay $8,671,377 in restitution as part of a conspiracy to rip off Blue Cross Blue Shield for physical therapy services that patients never received. Fernandez de Lemus, who is 33, was one of 15 people charged in the scheme, many of whom were related. It was a family affair. Now look at this. Unbelievable. We'll look at this too. The shit just keeps coming. This should be on Crimecast. Hey, that's real, win loser rug. Her name is Fernandez Delmas. Delmas is what it is. Delmas. In addition to the prison time and fine, she'll serve 3 years of supervised release. Prosecutors said the group paid kickbacks to beneficiaries of health insurance plans managed by Blue Cross, offering the kickbacks to employees of JetBlue Airway, AT&T, and TJX companies to induce them to serve as patients at various South Florida physical therapy clinics. The co-conspirators also paid kickbacks and bribes to their co-defendants in return for referring additional BCBS beneficiaries to the physical therapy clinics so more fraudulent healthcare claims could be submitted, a news release states. Officials said they also paid licensed massage therapists, several of whom were among the defendants convicted, to act as nominee owners and operators of the physical therapy clinics. This allowed the leaders of the scheme to avoid various medical clinic licensing requirements and to attempt to evade criminal prosecution. The following defendants have pleaded guilty in connection with the case. All right. Pedro Hugo Prieto Garcia of Miami, as Torian would say, quote unquote, south of the Borderian. You know what I'm saying? So there's just a huge list of all these people that are involved in this thing. I'm not trying to read this long ass list. You know what I'm saying? But as you guys can tell, like Torian says, this is south of the Borderian thing. Now check this out. We got the left side. We got the right side. We got the inside. We got the outside. And we got familicide. Let's see what happened here. Now watch there be an ad right here. Of course. And of course, this ad will end in 10-9-8-7-6-5-4-3-2-1. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell and shared the stream to your social media, please take a moment and do that. Follow my backup channels. Follow my other social media. All right, let's get it.
Accused of stabbing his mother. Right now, a 13-year-old accused of stabbing his mother to death in Hialeah is now going to be charged as an...
He's a 13-year-old. 13-year-old stabbed his mom. Hold on, man. Come on.
Right now, a 13-year-old accused of stabbing his mother to death in Hialeah is now going to be charged as an adult.
A court appearance happening just moments ago, and Local 10 News reporter Annalise Garcia is live in Miami with what happened during that hearing. Annalise.
Christy, Janice, we now know that 13-year-old Derek Rosa, who called 911 2 weeks ago after allegedly stabbing his mother to death, is now being charged as an adult. As you mentioned,
So now, again, like I said, with these kind of stories, you never hear about this in the mainstream media, right? This happened 2 weeks ago. If you guys heard about this story, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't hear about this story, give me a thumbs down.
Derek Rosa, who called 911 2 weeks ago after allegedly stabbing his mother to death, is now being charged as an adult. As you mentioned, he did have a hearing earlier today. He wasn't physically present, but we can take you to video so you can see for yourself. Now, he is now facing one charge of first-degree murder as an adult. The family requested he be transferred back to the Juvenile Detention Center, but pending review, he is being taken to Metro West, which is an adult prison facility. The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office
Shout out
tells
to
us
Tia.
based
What's good with
on a
it, Tia?
review of all the evidence gathered and by a grand jury, those jurors decided to indict Derek Rosa for first-degree murder. His mother is 39-year-old Irina Garcia. She worked at a nail salon locally. He allegedly stabbed her in the neck several times. The team then called police and asked them to come to his home. He also revealed he considered shooting himself. The state attorney's office also told us that he will not be facing the death penalty. The next steps here are he is being arraigned, or he's expected to be arraigned next week. He will stand in front of a judge and be formally read his charges, and that's expected to happen on Tuesday, so on Halloween Day. We are live in Miami. Annalise Garcia, Local 10 News.
It's just a terrible story. Tragic.
Yeah, I agree. Just a terrible story. But it's not one that we don't see too often. Okay. So now check this out. I don't know if people are aware of this, but this happened at the crib. You know what I'm saying? This happened at the crib. Let me see something real quick. So we got the Akron Beacon Journal. They gave them the maximum sentences, these brothers, for this situation with this Ethan Liming. All right. So let's check this out real quick. Oh, this is the entire trial, or this is the entire sentencing here. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna see if they got what the judge said. I wish they would have timestamped this. Let me see. Hold on.
Thank you, Mr. Key. So this case has been particularly difficult for everyone. It's been difficult factually, legally, and certainly emotionally. And to that point, I first want to express my deepest sympathy to the Liming family. Our entire community is heartbroken and sorry for your loss. I have sons. I have sons who were high school athletes.
So you from this area, Rudy? So they said that this dude Ethan Lyman went to Firestone High School, right? So he was from Akron. So why would you go up there to that park at that time of night shooting at people with a damn ice pellet gun or a water pellet gun or whatever that thing was? I don't like shout out to Rudy for being from around here, but man, you don't do that shit in Akron. White people were outraged online because they tried to say that it was a hate crime. Yeah, that wasn't the only location either. You know what I'm saying? That's like if he decided to go egg houses in Spring Hill. You know what I'm saying? Or egg apartment buildings in Spring Hill. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just go up and down V Odom and do pranks on people. Man, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Nobody doing you're not gonna live doing that. And on top of not living, you'd be lucky if they figure out who took you out. You know what I'm saying? Say sure did. Facts. They tried to say the brothers were the ones shooting until the police report came out. Facts.
and college athletes, and I cannot imagine your pain. If there was any way to change those 75 seconds last summer, I don't know a single individual that would not do so. It only took 75 seconds to change both of these families forever. And in those 75 seconds, I can count at least a half a dozen and probably more decisions of everyone involved that, had they chosen a different course of action, Ethan's death might have been avoided. This really was.
Had Ethan not been riding around shooting at people at night in Akron with a pellet gun, that probably wouldn't have happened. Just saying.
Was unfortunately a perfect storm of poor decisions by all of these young men. I'm going to start with defendant B, Mr. Tyler Stafford. Mr. Stafford has been found guilty of a single count of misdemeanor assault. I'm first going to note that defendant C, Mr. Donovan Jones, was also charged and previously found guilty of misdemeanor assault. However, he was charged only in only in relation to his interactions with Mr. Stefanko and Mr. Shady. Mr. Jones was not charged in relation to Ethan Liming, or maybe more specifically and accurately, he was charged but then was not indicted after the grand jury with any actions in relation to Mr. Liming. I point that out only to distinguish the sentence that I'm going to impose on Mr. Stafford with the sentence that I imposed on Mr. Jones. As to both of the defendants, the court has considered the plea negotiation, has considered the PSIs, the statements of counsel, the statements of the victim's family, as well as the entire record in this case. Based upon the facts and circumstances of the case and consideration of the relevant sentencing factors, I am to apply the minimum sanction that the court has determined will protect the public, promote the rehabilitation of, and punish the offenders without imposing an unnecessary burden on state or local resources. So as to Tyler Stafford, on count 1 of the indictment, the court will impose a sentence of 6 months incarceration for the crime of assault, a misdemeanor of the 1st degree. I will note that the Summit County Jail is overcrowded and misdemeanants are not generally held at the jail. Mr. Stafford will likely be moved to the Cass facility or to a jail in a neighboring county. I will allow him to serve his sentence at Cass because at Cass he can receive some programming, receive some cognitive classes, etc. That goes to Mr. Gallup's point that Mr. Stafford.
Exactly. Exactly, Rudy. That's what I be trying to tell people. This is a stand your ground state, and they were getting shot at night with hard projectiles that, you know, they were in an area where it was highly likely that somebody could have just drove up and shot at them. Now, Carlton said, I thought these young guys got off. They didn't get off, but what happened was I believe that they decreased the charges from manslaughter to assault. So they got their sentences are going to be in relation to assault and not in relation to manslaughter, which would have had more severe penalty. You know what I'm saying?
Sitting in the jail for 4 months may not assist anyone. Mr. Stafford can still serve his time at Cass and receive some programming there. As to defendant A, Mr. Deshaun Stafford, As I stated, Mr. Stafford has been found guilty of 1 count of aggravated assault, a felony of the 4th degree, and 1 count of misdemeanor assault. A few things about the law related to sentencing on these counts. First, pursuant to statute, whenever a defendant is found guilty of both a misdemeanor and a felony, any period of incarceration imposed for those offenses must be served concurrently.
Exactly, crew. Exactly. This was self-defense. And that Ethan Liming was the aggressor. He was the aggressor. You know what I'm saying? No, they not facts. It's like a paintball gun. You know what I'm saying? And they loud too. I think they have CO2 cartridges and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Second, pursuant to statute, while there may not be a presumption of probation, certainly I agree with Mr. Sin that many 4th degree felonies do result in probation. For most felonies of the 4th degree, indeed, Ohio law under the TCAP statutes requires those sentences to be served in the local jail and not in the state prison system. However, where the offense is an offense of violence, as is the crime of aggravated assault, and where the seriousness of the offenses is considered and other factors are present, a prison term may be imposed. In this case, the maximum prison term that the court could impose is 18 months incarceration. I have considered all of the relevant factors. I do believe that this case is among the most serious forms of the offense of aggravated assault. The victim suffered serious physical harm, and the sentence will be proportional to the harm caused. The defendant also has a misdemeanor crime of violence and a felony offense as a juvenile, and he did have violations of pretrial supervision and GPS monitoring, which may indicate a likelihood that community service or community control would not be successful. On count 2 of the indictment, the court would impose a sentence of 18 months incarceration for the crime of aggravated assault, a felony of the 4th degree. On count 4, the court would also impose 6 months of incarceration or of jail sentence for the crime of assault, a misdemeanor of the 1st degree. Again, pursuant to Ohio law, those would be served concurrently for a total of 18 months incarceration. Mr. Stafford, you may also be subject to up to a 2-year period of post-release control following your release from prison. If you violate the conditions of that supervision, the parole board may impose a prison term as part of your sentence of up to 1/2 of your stated prison term. I'm not going to impose any fines. I will order that the defendants pay court costs. You will be given the opportunity to pay those costs on a payment schedule, and if you're not able to do so on a timely basis, you could be ordered to do community service in order to satisfy that cost judgment. I do have 56 days credit for defendant B, Mr. Tyler Stafford. I have 137 days credit for time already served for Deshaun Stafford, defendant A. And I will inform both defendants that you understand that you do have a right to an appeal in this matter within 30 days of the filing of the court's sentencing entry. If you're unable to pay for the cost of the transcript, the record, and all relevant documents required for the appeal, they will be provided to you without cost. And if you are unable to pay for an appeal, you are entitled to have the notice of appeal filed without payment of a filing fee. Also understand that you are unable to afford counsel for an appeal, counsel will be appointed for you without cost. you understand that, Mr. Deshaun Stafford? And Mr. Tyler Stafford? All right, very good. Mr. Sin, I know you've discussed an appeal with your client. Is it his request that counsel be appointed for that purpose?
I'd like to have him talk about it with somebody, so yes, you should have that opportunity.
All right, I will.
I don't want to be able to.
Understood. Makes, generally, trial counsel is not counsel for an appeal. Give everything a second look.
So now here goes my question. While watching this, what does it take to get people motivated to understand that the only way that we'll ever be able to protect ourselves is if we have complete and total control over the courtroom, over everything? When does that register is my question for everybody. Because the way that it works is that people believe that they can coexist peacefully if they have full control over everything. So when are people going to stop being subjects and stop being spectators and start understanding that it needs to be us in control and us divvying out resources, justice, and everything else, and everybody else gets the rations? Until people start to understand that, or until people come to grips with their inner coward, this will be like this inevitably. The decision is on us.
I will get counsel appointed for Mr. Stafford. Anything further from counsel?
If you ask me, this is evidence of that. And I agree, Rudy. If you guys agree that this is pure evidence of what I'm talking about, give me a thumbs up. Now, shout out to Rudy Ray, because Rudy Ray had brought up a good point. After the police did what they did to Tyree Nichols and nothing happened, Ethan Liming attacked first, or made it appear that he was attacking with a projectile weapon. They defended themselves, and it's called assault. Yet people observe this situation and expect a spontaneous change. Spontaneously, people that have been allowed to do this forever, where's the operant conditioning that's going to decondition them from doing this? Nothing. Nothing. Why hasn't there been a consequence? Is my question. You know what I'm saying? Until there is one, may as well get used to this. I think people already are, but may as well get used to this. Shout out to my man Willet. What's good with it, bro? So my question is, when are people going to go from being spectators to participants? You know what I'm saying? We can watch this kind of stuff all day. Every day, all day, there's cases like this going on. It's not a mystery. Yeah, the person that initiated this is deleted. So that's my question for everybody. When do people make the decision to end it? Until people make a decision to end it, don't expect it to end. Until people decide to provide consequences for bad behavior, don't expect bad behavior to stop. And until you completely control everything at your disposal, don't expect full freedom. That's just how it is. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man AB Promotion. You know what I'm saying? The stream sponsor, $4.99 super chat, $1.99 super chat. Make sure you guys show him some love. Throw some radiation emoji in the chat for him. And for everybody who made it this far,